The next topic is very controversial. It's Black Lives Matter. I don't know, but to me, the Black Lives Matter
Well,
movement.
first for our viewers who, if you don't know, can you tell them a little about what they are?
Well, it's just a organization, as far as I understand, African Americans, and I'm sure that it wasn't necessarily started by African Americans.
It was.
Okay, so it was. And about it's pretty much how police using black people. So continue with that, Alex.
All right. Okay. One of my biggest gripe about Black Lives Matter is the name. I understand the point they make when they say Black Lives Matter. The problem is for that specifically is branding, because whenever you say Black Lives Matter, everyone wants to say, well, everyone's lives matter. Everyone, like, it's not only Black Lives, everyone. And then you get the whole movement of Black Lives Matter basically going, oh, you don't understand, you're a hypocrite, you don't understand, and you're called basically a racist for saying things like all lives matter. What they should have done for them not to be looked at as this weird fringe group is just add one word and say Black lives also matter. And if you say that, no one can argue with you. No one can say, yeah, because if you point to certain cases and you go like, see, black people were completely messed up in this situation or whatever the case is, you can say Black lives also matter, and no one can argue that. But when you say Black lives matter and you argue with people who say, well, all lives matter, then you're the one putting everyone in the position to look at this group as just a negative group, not a positive group. And well, let me ask you, the tactics that they're using right now, they're using tactics where they'll go to people's speeches and they'll try to interrupt them so that they could get their word in. What do you think of that tactic specifically?
What I think is it doesn't really help them at all. I mean, people are already annoyed the Black Lives Matter movement in the first place because, yet again, they're segregating everybody else. And they're really focusing on themselves as if they're the only victims here. As if, cops only punish black people, beat them up, tase them, shoot at them. It's just pretty much what the media is showing. Whatever the media is showing is how it is in real life. Well, no, that's not true. That's not the case, right? And, them using tactics where they interrupt campaigns and people driving out of a parking lot and screaming Black Lives Matter. Well, I mean, that's a reasonable technique.
It works for them.
It gets people to think about.
It gave them publicity.
It gives publicity. It also gets the individual people to think more about it and decide for themselves that this is bullshit. It's one group that is pretty much saying that we are the victims. We've always been the victims, and we will continue to be the victims, but we want for people to know that we are victims. I mean, we get that, we understand that you are victims of your own, volition, you know what I mean? That you think that you're a victim, so that means that you're a victim. Well, that's not the case. There are plenty of African Americans that are not victims. You know what I mean? Plenty of African Americans that are very successful, but they don't like to look at the positive aspects of a society. They only want to look at the negative aspects of society, and the media brings out the negative aspect that people can focus on it and create controversy. That's what I think is happening.
The way I look at them is more this is the metaphor that I'm going to use. They sort of seem to me like, for example, if there's a boat in the ocean and you're on the boat, or in the boat I should say, and there's a small leak to the side of the boat, and there's a huge gusher that's right in the middle, and it's just water's coming in from that small little leak, and water's coming in from the middle of the boat. And you go, well, I need to close up, so I close up the leaks. But you start with the small one. You go, I'm going to close that one up. And you put your pinky there. I'm going to close that one up because that's where the focus needs to be. Well, obviously, the focus is where most of the water is coming from. And the way I'm looking at this is this way. They're focusing on police that abuse or even kill black people. And even though that is a horrific thing, we got to look at it by the numbers, and where you're putting all your focus on this thing, it accounts for, and if you take all the lives that cops have taken in terms of black people, it doesn't even make 1%, which is still way more than it should, but that's less than 1%. Over 90% of all African American deaths come from other black people killing black people. And the crazy thing is not to look at the biggest percentage, but look at the smallest and go like, we need to stop this, but not look at the other side. It makes it look like you're not even trying. It makes it look like you're completely going, well, you know what, we can't really do anything about this, over 90%, but let's try to do something about this 0.001% or something like that. That to me is the craziness of this whole movement, is the focus where it shouldn't be. The focus should be, how do we change the culture in our community so that it doesn't cause this kind of, whether it's a drive-by, whether it's a shooting of any kind. How do we stop that? How do we minimize that? That to me is where the big problem comes from. And it just seems like Black Lives Matter, they're really talking about only specific Black Lives Matter, not all Black lives. Because if they did, then you would really focus on the whole entire community, which is over 90% of black people die from other black people. It's a crazy statistic. So,
well, we don't know the actual numbers of that statistic, but we do. Black people kill other black people, then cops kill black people. So I mean, that is a fact, and you can research yourself.
I'm not exactly sure what the difference was between what I said and what you just said.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with your point that more black people kill other black people versus cops killing black people.
They just rephrase what I said?
I'm just rephrasing what you're saying,
okay.
and I 100% agree with you on that. It's interesting. It's this political movement against the cops. It seems like it's to demonize the cops and say, well, most of the cops are white, and most of the crime are committed by black people. And let's just show that the cops are killing black people and create this race war, this controversy, cops versus black people. And create this organization that only focuses on the fact that cops are killing black people. Forget about the fact that gang members that are black are killing other black people. And let's not even focus on that. Let's just focus on these dirty cops that are racist, that are prejudiced, and the only thing they want to do is when they drive up to a black person is just take out a gun and shoot them. And that's ridiculous, you know what I mean? I don't think any cop has an agenda to drive up to a black guy in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening and just pull out a gun and shoot them. Come on, it's ridiculous.
I'm not going to say anyone. I mean, there is, I'm sure, like someone out there. But the thing is, the way the media makes it look is that this is something that happens all the time. This is something that, especially white cops, they're going out there. And especially, we're talking about cops who work the beat on a regular basis. You're most likely not the first black person they have seen. And it's just the focus that goes on to the white cops, specifically white cops, is sort of it's crazy. It's like, well, if basically, if you remove, let's say, all white cops, and let's say cops completely stop in any kind of, whether it was righteous or not, and they stop killing all black people, there would still be a huge hole that you need to close up, because there's still a lot of black people that are being killed. And the fact that this group is not even talking about them, and they're talking about Black Lives Matter, and make sure you say it correctly, and they're really not talking about the biggest part of it, it's crazy. It really looks like it's a political thing. It's not. It's a group that just wants to grow and doesn't really care about black people. It really does look like it.
It's true, but they will probably point and say that, Alex, you're racist, because
Most likely, yes.
you don't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement. So there are a lot of white people that actually do believe in and actually support it blindly, without even thinking about the fact that, wait a second, we have Mexicans, we have Puerto Ricans, we have so and so, different ethnicities, Asians, why are we talking about them? Why really is it only the black people that are being oppressed? Are you telling me Mexicans are not being oppressed? I mean, Mexicans are in gangs too. Mexicans kill people, you know what I mean, as well. And, it's just this movement because black people are the loudest voice among the minorities. So, let's build an organization that deals with black lives. Forget about any other life. Black Lives Matter, but in all honesty, when you really look at the core base of the Black Lives Matter, they really don't care about black people. It's all about the agenda. I'm sure it's all about raising money for it, publicizing it, demonizing certain groups. It exists to... doesn't exist to help society, right? What do you think?
I completely agree with that. I think that they're a group that I can't know the reason as to why they started originally, but what they are now is definitely not a group that's out there looking for the benefit of black people. It does seem from the outside, seems like they're a group that's out there with an agenda, and the agenda seems like that it's, hey, whether it's money or whether it's just growth at this point, it just seems like it's something that doesn't benefit black people. I honestly, if to ask them, what have they done that was good so far? What can they attribute their name to? We did this. I still wouldn't know. I mean, they grew. Black Lives Matter, the group actually grew, but it also grew a lot of people who dislike them. It made people question, like, well, why are you getting mad at people when they say all lives matter? Why are you even doing any of this?
Well, because they feel like as though the black lives are the ones taken, and so pretty much no one else is being killed justly. It's really only the black people that are. But, forget about looking at different perspectives and the real reasons why this is happening. White people get killed by cops too. You know what I mean? But nobody wants to look at
but that wouldn't really be a story.
What about Latinos? Though. Latinos get killed by, cops as well. Forget about them. Let's not talk Asians, I'm sure,
but those
too,
stories did not make a difference. I remember seeing statistics after like all of the incidents, whether it was Ferguson or whether it was Trayvon Martin case and stuff like that. There are the statistics in terms of like just if you take a look at individual cities where 7 black people were killed, 10 black people, and just we're not talking about the United States. We're talking about like individual cities where those same days there were like a bunch of black people that were killed by other black people, and none of those came up. Why? What made those cases different? Is it because there was a white person there? Because if the other people that died, and there was, hundreds of people that died that same day, black people that died during that same day, no one mentions them. No one ever talks about them. They're like, well, things happen. They get shot. It's okay. Don't worry. But this case, now, if you take a look at this case, there was a white person there, whether he was a cop, whether he wasn't a cop, it was 100% he was, it's like, you have to take a look at the news and you have to ask, like, did they have an agenda sometimes? Did they have an agenda where they're pointing to, hey, this story is going to be more entertaining. This is a story that people are going to talk about. And that's the story that they're going to give you, So that's
it's not interesting. It's not sexy to talk about the positive aspects of society. It's not something that the news likes to cover, to say that, a white person helped out the black person.
It doesn't sell. But it doesn't sell. That's the thing. They're in it for the money. So what are you going to watch more? Are you going to watch where a white cop beats a black person, whether just or not just, doesn't matter. That's what's going to get a lot more people watching and talking about it. Is it going to be somebody who does something nice, whether it was a black person that helps a white woman do something or whatever the case is? Well, no one's going to care about that. They're going to turn the channel, so they're not going to cover that. They're going to cover and give you the thing that, like, oh, wow, I can't believe that happened. And people eat it up. People believe that there's just white cops driving around right now looking for black people to shoot them. And that's not reality. That just isn't. And Black Lives Matter movement is focusing on something that just doesn't exist. It's like, yes, are there singular cases where you could focus on? Yes, but it's not this big epidemic that's happening. They need a whole movement to stop. What they need a movement for is really to stop all this black on black violence that they have. And until you have, like some kind of movement for that, this Black Lives Matter movement seems it's just there to, I don't know, make money or get a name for themselves.
Well, entice fear also.
Oh yeah, fear, that's a good one, yeah.
Everyone fearful of the cops and get people to rally up and protest cops, maybe even kill cops. And recently, a black cop that was killed, and it was due to the fact that the cop, simply because he's a cop, he was targeted. It didn't matter if he was black or white. So there is no positivity, in my opinion, in Black Lives Matter. But let me ask you a question about this incident that just happened. And there was this girl, I don't know if you saw this video, she was texting in class, and there was a white cop, which is funny, that came in and just dragged her out by force out of the chair.
I did see this. The thing is, I did see it, but I didn't hear how, I didn't exactly hear that was the exact case. I'm not sure who's right or wrong on this, but how I read it was that the teacher was the one who actually told her basically to stop. She said, if you don't, I'm gonna call the police. Then he was called to take her out of the classroom because she didn't want to leave because the teacher already told her. And
but he did it so violently that I just felt, you as a cop about it, and you can't do it, then you got to call the parents. Why didn't you call the parents? Why do you have to forcefully drag someone in such a violent manner? That I did not I did not agree with that at all.
The thing is not in every case you can, first of all, just answer one side of it. Not in every case you can reach the parents. And what happens if you can't reach the parents? Because I would be surprised if they went to that route first, if they just went, we're going to call the cops without calling the parents. I mean, she is a minor at the same time. So I'd be surprised if that escalated to that. But at the same time, I watched it and I was also, like, my first reaction was, wow, that was way too much force. Then I looked at it again. I'm like, let me see it. And the one thing, and again, I don't know anything about this case particularly. I don't really know the guy all that well or anything. But at the same time, I asked myself, okay, so if I was him, okay, I was called in, okay, I'm not part of the school. I can't tell him what needs to be done. But I was called in. I have to remove the student from the classroom. She's interrupting class or whatever the case is. I have to remove. Okay, she's sitting by the wall. She's sitting in one of those, school desk where it basically locks you in. So if he pushes her to the side, she most likely will hit the wall with her head. If he tries to pull her up, then her feet will get stuck and she basically are lifting her and the desk together. So I'm thinking, if I was actually trying to get her out of there by force, if that's my job, if I have to take her out of there by force, I don't know if I would have done it so much differently. Maybe not as violent as he did it, not with like as much force, but would I have done what he did in terms of he flipped the desk on its back, not on its like the actual front, but on its back, and then slid her out basically? That is the best way to do it. I mean, if you actually think about it, if you're in that situation,
but there's no need to be in that situation in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? She was disrupting the class,
yes,
by using her cell phone. Take away the cell phone. I don't understand.
Okay, so she doesn't give it to you. I'm sure the thing is let's be real about this. I don't think it was like, hey, the phone rings, I'm gonna call the cops on you. This was an escalated thing. Because I mean, if we go based on, then this was just a person with the phone and the cop came in and just dragged her out. You're absolutely right. There's no, like, I have no argument to that. But the way how I understood it, the way it made sense is that this wasn't something that was easily like, oh, hey, the phone rings, that's it, we're taking out. It was like a prolonged thing. Like, you need to leave the classroom. I won't do it. Call the parents. The parents are not there, can't reach them. Okay. Then we call the cops.
We don't know that.
Right.
Where's the principal? There's so
many
but
the teacher,
here.
Right? But let's say the principal is there. What would the principal do? Leave.
The principal comes in.
Okay, Lee says leave. Then what?
Well, the principal comes in, explains to her the ramifications of what's going to happen to her. Right, you try all your avenues to get to the solution without actually calling the cop. And you know what? That's fine. You call the cop, but the cop also, does rational, in my opinion, should not be dragging a student like that. Just be fine. Get somebody else to help you to push the desk with her out into the hall. Let her sit in the hall until she's ready to
I think
stand up. I don't think you need to resort to that.
I honestly think you're using this whole thing that it's like you're not in that situation and you're looking at it from a perspective.
Well, you're not in that situation either.
Right, exactly. And what I said was, when I was looking at it the second time, I said, let me put myself in that situation. Let me try to imagine if I'm in that situation.
But as a cop, you don't need to do that if you know that there's a potential of someone recording you.
But that's
right?
my point. But that's my point though. Is there is no way. For example, if a cop needs to remove anyone, whether it's that kid who doesn't want to leave,
the cop didn't need to really remove her.
What do you mean? He was called specifically for that.
Well, okay, but not,
he was literally called for that.
But not in that manner. Let's just put it that way. Not in that manner.
Again, my point was, how would you have done it if you had to? Because we're really talking about here. We're really talking about to remove the child from there. Okay, you have to remove it. That's what you were called for. You as a cop have to. That's your thing. You have to remove her. How would you yourself? How would you have done it?
I would have taken her cell phone and told her that I would smash her cell phone on the ground.
She said that's fine.
I don't think that she would.
No.
You're making up a scenario.
No. Because you're changing scenario. Because my scenario is simply you have to drag her out of there. How do you do it?
We have to stay on topic because
I am.
It's in relation to her cell phone. Okay, so you take away her cell phone, and if she doesn't stand up, you tell her, "I'm going to smash her cell phone." And I guarantee you that she will go.
We're talking about the fact that he used too much force in taking her out of there, right?
Exactly.
So that's what I'm asking you. How would you have done it?
I'm telling you how I would have done it.
No. You changed up scenario. You said, "I'm going to take your cell phone." No, you.
But the question is, why is she? Is she under arrest?
I don't have no clue.
Why would she be under arrest? Come on.
Actually, if I heard that right, I think they were saying something about charges against her.
Charges.
Do not ask me. Do not ask me. Do not. See, I actually think that there's part of it that you didn't read because I read a little bit. No. I think both of us actually don't have all the facts. So that's why we're talking about the things that we know happened. You're talking too many things about that you don't know that happened. So I'm like, the scenario that we're talking about is if he used too much force or not. So I'm asking a simple question. Do not divert it to something else. Do not talk about something else. How would you have, if you need to drag somebody out of a classroom like that, she's in that situation, she's sitting by a desk, how do you take her out of there? I'm asking. That's literally the question.
And I already
no,
explained
you changed the scenario.
I would find someone to help me, okay?
There's desks around you.
No, that's fine. I would have someone. Okay, her desk isn't that hard to move if there are two people on both ends.
She's in it.
Absolutely, you have one person
okay,
behind
so
her.
let's say so she once you try to start lifting it, she just gets out of it.
Well, she gets out of it. She gets up.
No,
right?
no, she gets up, but she doesn't want to go. We're talking about dragging a person out. How do you do it?
Well, that's what
no. Right, but how do you do it without, like, for example, if somebody is videotaping, okay? If somebody is actually has a cell phone up and stuff like that, and they're recording this, how do you do it where it doesn't look like it's a violent thing that you're doing?
That's what I'm saying. You have a second person holding her.
Okay, so she's like moving, she's struggling, she's yelling.
Okay, if she's already struggling and yelling and her hands are moving everywhere. Well, but I didn't see that. I did not see that.
Okay? But my point. My point is very simple. You can't make it look like there's no way to drag somebody out, whether it's in a club, whether it's in a school, whether it's anywhere. You can't drag somebody out who doesn't want to go and make it look like it's a wonderful, easy thing. It's not like, excuse me, here.
I'm just saying you can mitigate the situation, and I didn't see that. I always see hindsight is always 20/20, right? You could always look at a situation from the outside and point and go like, this is how it could have been done easily. My point, just looking at it from the outside, is I don't know if my job was, they said, you need to take her out. That is what I'm there for. I need to take her out of the classroom. And the way her desk is, I can't pull her to the side. So you're saying you shouldn't think.
No.
Just do. That's what he did. He really didn't think.
That's my point, is that he did.
Why didn't he call for backup?
Why did he need it? It's one girl.
It doesn't matter.
Why did he? No, but I don't understand.
It's not a straightforward situation.
I don't understand. You're basically saying that one is going to be holding her hands, one is going to be holding her feet. That's what? What is the point? I don't understand.
I'm just saying, if you would have backup, they could have done it in a more effective way. That's all I'm trying to say.
That's just like an argument without an argument. It's like, yeah, if they could have done it better. It's like, well, if I was there looking at how it was handled, I could have done it better.
In either matter, it looked very bad. It fuels,
absolutely.
The Black Lives Matter
I completely
situation.
agree. It looked horrible.
Right.
I'm just saying that I think if people look at it and go like, if I was in that position, how would I have handled that?
Right.
I think people would look at it and go like, I don't know if you could take somebody out physically, because that's what his job was. We're not talking about any scenario that you could build up where, well, he would have just called and his job was taking her out. We handled all the stuff. You can take her out of the classroom.
Okay, the real question here is this. Was it done because she was black? What do you think? Because she was a black girl? Do you think that was the
honestly,
reason why?
I have no clue.
Really? So you think that if it was a white girl there, that it would have been handled in a different way?
The truth of the matter is, I don't know. I don't know his motives, because it looked like he did it with a force.
Well, you're saying he did his job.
No. The way he did it looked like it was overblown. But at the same time, the way he actually did it looked like, I'm like, I don't know if I would have done it differently. That's the thing. When looking at that video, so
that's what I'm asking you. So if you would not have done it differently, that means that you would have treated a white girl in that situation. No,
I would, because I'm not racist. But what I'm saying is about him, I don't know. I don't know.
Anything to do with racism.
Right. But I'm saying I don't know if he would have done anything differently. That's what I'm saying. Do I know that if he would have handled that situation differently if there was a white girl? I don't know. So I'm saying I don't.
would he handle in a different way? She's being disruptive. She's using her cell phone.
No, hold on.
Why do you think that he would do it in a different manner?
I'm not saying that I think that. I'm saying I don't know. There's a difference between the two.
But the same situation. She doesn't want to get up from the desk.
And I'm saying,
of course, he would do the same thing.
I don't know why you're saying. Of course, you don't know what was going through his head.
Oh, come on. So then you're saying there's potentially that he's a rape? I don't think so.
I'm saying I don't know. Like it's very easy for somebody to sit there and go like, well, it's like, yeah, for sure he is or he isn't. But the truth of the matter is, no one knows. If you think you're right on one side of the other on this, if you're a Black Lives Movement and going like 100% he's racist, or if you're on the other side going, oh, 100% he's not racist, then you're both wrong because none of you know. None of you actually know. Like I'm saying, I don't know. I don't know whether he did it. He acted a certain way because he was, or he did it. He would do it normally he would do that towards anybody. I don't know. I can't say that.
I think that he would have done it the same way, whether it was a black girl, Asian girl, or a white girl. I think that
exactly.
He's using his authority to treat people the way that he wants.
Right. But what you did was you just gave your opinion, right?
Exactly.
And I'm saying a fact that I don't know.
Well, for example, like cops, they abuse their authority all the time. When, for example, they're driving along the street and all of a sudden they turn on their sirens and they go through the red light. And then they turn it off. I mean, they use. I don't
have a clue what that has anything to do with the conversation.
That has something to do with. I'm just saying that
that has something to do with it. All right,
the cops, and I'm not saying all cops, but the cops like to abuse their authority.
Okay, all right, you know what? Look,
and I think that's what happened in this situation.
Let's
has nothing to do with black or white.
Let's finish off. Black Lives Matter is a movement that I think we both agree on is a movement that shouldn't actually even exist. If it doesn't,
feminist movement,
right? and if it does exist, it should focus more on the big problem they have, not the small problem. I'm not saying not to address that at all, but to focus on the biggest problems that they have, not the smallest. Anyways,
exactly, absolutely right.
So what is that?
So moving on to our next topic, we have the migrants that are moving into Europe. I think that that's devastating to Europe. I mean, I know what's going on in Syria and Iraq and other parts of the Middle East is horrific, but to migrate immigrants that are Muslim into predominantly